Hi, Steam. I saw yesterday we posted an infographic on vibration, and it was supposed to just be a quick kind of at a glance kind of thing for students that had already, gone through the basic steps, pretty much as we work through the 7 Hermetic principles. But I also had another one that I was going to post with it, and I thought that I did actually, but something I had a mix-up of some kind. So that one didn't get posted. But so I figured today, I don't know, I woke up early and it's still relatively quiet here in Boise. So I figured it was probably easiest just to do this vocally so you can hear a sample. And then I'll post a few other samples later to go with it. And then if you still have any questions after that, then you can just let me know and then we'll address it. But I don't know. The main thing is I mean, I can explain it and explain it and explain it until I'm blue in the face, but if you're not actually doing it, then it's no point. So first and foremost, vibration is essentially, when we're talking about it in magical purposes, we're talking about it in 2 different ways. One, we're talking about like the actual sound. So like every time you speak, every time there's a noise, there's sound waves. And the Kabbalion, they talk about it, vibration is the 3rd Hermetic principle. And the reason why I actually bring it up before we go through all of them is because by the time you get to the 3rd, the first 2 are relatively easy, correspondence and mentalism. So it's visualization and everything happens with the mind. And then the next one's a pretty common mantra these days in magical circles, which is as above, so below. So things correspond to each other. And people, they don't really have a hard time getting either one of those concepts. And then they get into the vibration and then they go to vibrate and they're like, oh, and they get discouraged. So it's relatively common. My suggestion is to start practicing it, pretty much as soon as you can. And so that's why we're kind of going through it now. So I wanted to give you a few samples of it and talk about how to do it properly. But the other thing with it is so we have your voice and your sound, and that vibrates. But the Kabbalion states, and honestly, most of your practices, whether you're looking at Buddhism or you're looking at the 4 major tantric traditions through from India, and most of your magical practices, they do have this idea, this understanding of the universe, that there's a vibration inside and outside. There's the microcosm and the macrocosm, which we'll also get more into. But the main thing with it is that we've all come to this understanding that there is this vibratory energy within us. And the best way that most human beings can understand that, unless they're really religious or they have that faith that's very solid that says, this is what this is through our emotions. And that's why you'll also find that when you're doing magical practices, they're highly affected by your emotions. So the other part of the vibration is your thoughts. So the way I like to think about it is your thoughts is like the kick. It's what starts. It's the thing that's going to wake you up or, make you awakened. But it's just an idea. You can think and that usually it'll have a relatively minor influence on it, if you're thinking about it now and then. But if you start thinking about it and you start obsessing about it, then it has a different effect. If you intentionally think about something and you put it out into the universe and then you let it go, it has a different effect as well. And each one of those have different vibrations. So pretty much when you're starting out, later on we'll get into, this is when you can do something positive, this is when you can do something negative. It's an individual basis for every single person. And it's going to be affected by your emotional, how you think and how you feel. So we'll get more into that later. First, I just wanted to do a couple of quick things just to show you the samples of what you should be aiming for, and then we'll convene later and get it really solid and knuckled down. So first and foremost, when you're actually vibrating, you're trying to push your will out into the world. So you're going to be doing that from doing it from your diaphragm. If you do it from right here, just your lungs, it's almost kind of like I'm kind of breathy right now because I'm on camera and I get a little bit shy and I'm like, okay, that's why we breathe, right? We center, we calm, we take all of that energy, all of that air. We're going to breathe it in. And normally we would keep that going. It's called the 4-fold breath. And so you'd breathe in for 4 seconds.